Today with Manchester Theatres, we are at Stoller Hall, one of the biggest acoustically advanced auditoriums in the city, and they are able to offer state-of-the-art experiences for people who want to do music concerts, whether they want to rehearse, record or film. Everything is possible in this space. And I am here with Commercial Creative Director Fran Healey, who is going to tell us all about this wonderful gem and what it has to offer. So thank you for joining us, Fran, first of all. So, first of all, tell us about why this is so acoustically pleasing and the design, the engineering behind the place, because everything has been thought out, hasn't it?
Absolutely, literally everything that you see in the room is here for a reason. So down from the slots of the wood around the outside to the banners that are up around the top of the room, literally every surface, every finish is designed for the acoustics. The real state of the art.
It is, it's fantastic, and even just talking you can hear it, can't you? It's incredible. And so we want to know how this place is going to be used over Christmas. So you've got Christmas shows coming up, you've got things for children, Peter and the Wolf, you've got Opera North. So talk us through some of these things that you've got coming up in the lead up to Christmas.
Yeah, we've got a really exciting mix actually. So I think we're probably the first sort of Christmas thing is Peter and the Wolf. So we've got some shows that we're doing especially for schools. So we've invited schools to come in during the week for their sort of end of term kind of come and see a show. And then we have a family show on the Saturday, so that's going to be really exciting with a narrator on the stage as well, talking through the story. And also for children, we've got the Cinderella show, which is Opera North coming here. It's a touring show, but they're bringing it here into Manchester, and it's the only show in Manchester. So yeah, and that's for the whole family really. So I think it'll be real quite traditional, like cosy sort of Christmas feel. And then we've got things for all ages as well. So we've got Cantos here doing their Christmas carols, and included in that is part of a new carol competition. So the winner of the competition, their carol gets performed that evening, as well as the more traditional Christmas carols as well. And then we have some folk groups, so Lindisfarne are coming, who've been around for years, as you probably know. They came last year and they were really, really popular and they love coming to Manchester. I think a couple of them are fairly local, so they feel like they're in their hometown. And then we've got classical things as well, so we've got Manchester Collective coming and doing a quartet from the End of Time. So yeah, real mixture of something for everybody really. It's quite exciting.
Absolutely, there's so much going on. And then when Christmas is over in January, you have your Harp Festival coming up as well. So I want to know all about that. But again, what I think is brilliant is that you've done it so that you've got the Snow Bear story as well, so it can even include children again. So tell us about the Harp Festival.
Yeah, well, the Harp Festival is a good example actually of the things that we try and do here. So we try and do things that integrate different styles of music, different genres, but also different age groups and things that the whole family can engage with. So it's not just for children, it's for children and adults, or it's not just for adults, it's for adults as well as the children, so it kind of works both ways. And so the Harp Festival, it's the first Harp Festival we've done. We've got a series of festivals. It'll be the very first Manchester Harp Festival. Salvi are very generously helping us to make it happen up in Manchester. Thank you, Salvi. It's going to be amazing. We've got an opening recital with all the people who've been involved in the preparation of it, working together. So they're putting a special recital of multiple harpists on stage in one go here in the Stoller Hall. So that'll be the kind of the launch concert. On the first day, we've also got the Chet's students, Student School Music students who play the harp, are going to do a showcase concert on things they've been working on. And we'll have demonstrations of electric harps, e-harps, people who want to understand how to look after their harps or how they might sort of work with a harp can talk to Salvies and to e-harps and understand what how they maintain them, how they service them and so on. There'll be workshops, so we'll be doing Alexander technique, which is kind of physicality of playing. And also on the Saturday, the Snow Bear Story, which is our series called Stoller Story Sounds. So it's a kind of multidisciplinary workshop for early years children and their parents. And the idea is to introduce those children to music, but also linking it with art, visual art, and storytelling as well. So it's kind of a really interactive experience.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the I need to get this alliteration right, the Stoller Story Sounds. Because you've got another one coming up with the Chocolate Wolf as well, haven't you? So the idea behind these is to basically get young, like preschool children in and involved in music from an early age, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So we have a storyteller and a visual artist and musicians always in every version of Stoller Story Sounds that we do. We've got a series of them and we're always adding to the series as well with different stories. Yeah, and it's to introduce the children to what music means and how they can relate to it in a kind of a way that they understand as early years students. And we've added to that as well. We're just have just launched and are building on our series of Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 workshops as well. So looking at sort of working with children, looking at music from different origins, different roots. So this series is called Terra Musica. But yeah, just introducing people to different styles of music and different ways of expressing themselves.
It's brilliant because, you know, how many children get to experience that and live, and it's a really, really special thing, that.
Yeah, we always link them into concerts as well, so they're always tied into something that's happening in the Stoller Hall as well. So we hope that they'll come and experience the workshop and then come back and either listen to a rehearsal or listen to a performance on the Stoller Hall stage. So as well as seeing it in kind of a small workshop environment, they also see it in the concert.
Oh wow, yeah, that's good. And another way that, so from the very young to the maybe older audience, you have the rush hour concerts as well. So tell me about how they came about and what they're there for, to kind of bring people in and avoid rush hour traffic, I guess.
Yeah, so it actually came originally from us, because we're connected to Chetham School of Music. Education and learning is very important in everything we do. And last year we launched an emerging artist scheme where we brought some students who'd finished their musical education in to work with us to develop their career, learn how to manage themselves as a business almost, and know how to get bookings, how to perform, how to market themselves, how to get funding and so on. So it's part of that series, the Emerging Artist series. We're working in collaboration with them to do this rush hour timed concerts. And because we're right opposite Victoria Station, it's like it just goes crazy outside when everyone's trying to get home from work. And I know it myself. I'd much rather get on a quiet train and have a relax before I head back into the real world. So it was just, the idea was that people could come after their day at work or come into town maybe and then come to the concert and go out for a meal. So it just felt like a nice timing for people to just take a break. They're slightly shorter concerts as well, so they're designed to be quite accessible. It's not a huge time commitment, and hopefully it's kind of a nice way to round off a busy day.
Yeah, rather than sitting like that on a train instead. Yeah, definitely. And there's so many different types of music that you're able to offer here, whether it be jazz, folk, chamber music, classical. You've even had stand-up comedians here. I mean, there's so much. How do you kind of manage putting such an eclectic mix of a programme together?
I mean, it's a challenge. I think we're very lucky because this venue does work for so many different things. It's such a beautiful environment, and different things can happen on the stage, from a symphony orchestra to a single stand-up comedian on their own. And it works for acoustic events, and it works for amplified events as well. So it really works. It's very flexible as a space. It's a challenge, and it keeps us all busy, definitely. But it's really nice, and I think because of the way the Manchester music industry is, and the cultural industry in Manchester, I think people really feel like they own the space and want to be here. And so we get lots of inquiries from all sorts of different things wanting to come and happen here, and it's just really nice to be able to have that variety.
So is that part of your role then, as the creative director, that you plan all of the different concerts? Do you actively source and say, we really want them to come here, or so how does it work?
It's a bit of both. So there's certain things that we kind of are core to us and what we do. So we're very strong on classical, folk and jazz music. So we tend to go out and source people to take part in that series. So my role is to identify who we want to be on the stage and go and talk to them and try and get them to come and be on the stage.
Give them a chocolate biscuit, get them to
bribe them in. I was saying, look, one of the things we were talking, one of the things that people love is actually performing on this stage, because it's such a beautiful space to perform in. So it's quite an easy sell, really, a lot of the time. And other things come to us. So we get probably the comedians more come to us because they tend to be on a touring circuit, especially if they're international comedians. So they might be in the UK for 3 weeks and they want a Manchester date, and then they'll go looking at Manchester venues. It's a mixture, really. We just try and keep a balance of trying to keep everyone happy, really, without too much overload of one thing or missing anything out completely.
And you can hire this space, but you've got other spaces as well, haven't you? So what are some, aside from music, because not everyone hires them for music, so what are some of the more unusual requests maybe that you've had, or things that maybe you wouldn't expect Stoller Hall was able to do?
We've done all sorts of different things, really. Sometimes it's things with a connection to music, so graduation ceremonies, maybe for performing arts schools and things like that. Also brand launches, big corporate meetings and conferences, all sorts, really. A real mixture things you'd expect and things you wouldn't. I think the things that I like most when they're sort of in the business realm are the things that are connected to music. Yeah. So things like those graduation ceremonies, or English Folk Expo, for example, had their delegate sessions here with all the exhibitions and so on. And that meant all of the folk promoters from the UK and internationally were all in one room at the same time. It was quite exciting. Yeah. So yeah, it sort of feels nice when it's got a connection, but it's all sorts. We have everything.
So I bet, like, there's no such thing as a typical work day for you then, really, is there?
No, thank goodness. No, I love it. The variety is incredible. I mean, it's challenging, don't get me wrong. You've got to be on your toes all the time, and trying to remember, what's next, and keeping up with things is quite hard. When we're planning 2 years in advance, so trying to remind myself back into the here and
what's
now.
On now?
Yeah, exactly. It's quite, what year is it? What am I doing? But yeah, it's great, and it really is. There's a lot of variety. It's really a lot of fun.
And so you've been open since 2017, and pretty much straight away you scooped an award, didn't you, for the design of the place. So tell us what that was for.
Yeah, so that was a design award for the entire building, actually. This is the Stoller Hall is within Chetham School of Music's new school building, as it's called. It's not so new anymore, is it? But I'll have to think of a new name for it at some point.
It still feels fairly new.
It still looks quite shiny. But the building itself is actually designed, if you look at it from above, and you can see it on I'm allowed to say Google Maps. It looks like the shape of a grand piano, which not many people realise, because you don't necessarily see when you walk around the outside. So it's when you go in the atrium, it's kind of, we call it the pointy end, but it's a triangular shape with a pointy end. But essentially that's the top end of the grand piano. So the whole building has been designed with music in mind, and everything about it. And we talked before about the acoustics in here, but actually there's other rooms. We've got the Carol Nash Hall, we've got the atrium. Even the atrium, which is a bar essentially, has been acoustically treated to work as a performance space. So yeah, it's just so much thought has gone into it, and right in the middle of Manchester, we're in this room next to Victoria Station with trains and people running in and out. You can't hear anything.
Can't hear anything. No, I could do with some of this where I live, to be honest. Block out some
You get
sound.
a really good night's sleep here.
Yeah. And so you've mentioned there, you are, accessibility-wise, you are right next to Victoria Station. It is so easy to get here. And as you've said, you are associated with Chetham School of Music. So you've kind of said already some of the ways that they get involved, but does your role include working alongside the students?
It does, and that's one of the things I love about my role, really. I think what's really unique about the Stoller Hall is that it's part of Chetham School of Music, and that's what makes us special. We quite often when we have visiting artists, they'll come and they'll work with the students while they're here. The students perform in here as well, so it's like the most amazing school concert hall for them. And we do things like sort of connected events like the summer music course. So we open up the venue as a residential over the summer holidays. So there's a residential space for non-Chet students to come and take part here, and they get a chance to be on the stage and perform. So yeah, there's lots of things that we do sort of collaboratively together, and it's a really nice sort of synergy between the two, actually, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like you say, the perfect kind of synergy that you've got going on, and what a way for the musicians of the future to learn and be in such a place as this. It's fantastic.
And like you said before, the variety, it's nice for them to see, they're training as classical musicians, but classical musicians go on and do all sorts of different things.
They do.
It's nice for them to be able to see what the options are as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Fran. It's been absolutely amazing being in here. It's, like you say, I'd heard about the acoustics, but it's not until you're here that you kind of realise how it takes your breath away. There's no kind of words for it, is there? It's something you've got to experience. So thank you so much. You can come to Stoller Hall. There is so much going on here, and it is really easy to get to. Just straight off the train, and especially at the minute, you've got the Christmas markets there as well. It's absolutely perfect. So all the best with your Christmas season.
Thank you.
And obviously the Heart Festival moving into the new year. And we will see you again soon. Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Carols from Cantos is coming to the Stoller Hall in Manchester on Saturday the 9th of December. Featuring the winner of the Cantos Carol Competition 2023, carols old and new, and even some congregational singing. We can't wait to see you there, so book your tickets now.